I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming this evening. Would the city clerk please take attendance?
6 council members are present, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Tilton Burn is absent.
All right. Action on approve the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments from the public? Council questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Hager,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
Okay, we move on to open forum. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the council on an item not listed on tonight's agenda? All right, move on to consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any public comment on any of the items? Council have any questions, comments? Councilmember Duran.
Thank you, Mayor. I was wondering if Kristen from Parks and Rec would be willing to come up and just give an overview about our renovation of the skate park.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. The Resolution 25-63 is a renovation of the Dwiggins Maderi Skate Park. Just some brief background information is that skate park is now over 25 years old. We were having a hard time to actually figure out how old it is. In fact, the only time the city committed some funding for that project was the construction and just some general ongoing maintenance. So it hasn't really ever seen like an improvement of any kind since it was built. Before 2000 is all I know for sure. We're excited to share that the full renovation of the skate park was included in the 2025 budget at $315,000. The project is purchased through the Sourcewell Cooperative Agreement, so it was competitively bid throughout that process, and it's falling at budget, so it's that full $315,000. As with any public park improvement, community input is a vital part of the process. We hosted a design charrette, which was attended by approximately 40 participants and 2 council members. We still include the participants that attended that design charrette throughout the entire process, which included a group of skate park users, kids, adults, school workers, a whole gamut of groups. We offered also 2 other opportunities for public feedback, one during the initial design phase and the another after the draft concepts were developed. A formal project for this timeline is dependent on contractor availability and will be established after this contract award. But we are optimistic that the concrete and groundwork will start this fall with completion anticipated in spring of 26. That will have some impacts. The skate park would not be available for public use during that time of construction due to the nature of the construction, but we'll try to minimize that as much as possible. The renovation is also a creative partnership between the Brookings Public Arts Commission. We have been collecting used skate decks that will be repurposed into custom park benches. A local artist is designing wraps for trash receptacles and drinking fountains, bringing functional art into this space, which is really kind of cool. While skate parks may not always be viewed as traditional park amenities, they're essential gathering spaces to foster creativity, physical activity, and social connection for youth and adults alike. I stand for any additional questions.
Hey, Kristen, any other questions, comments? Councilmember Duran.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kristen, for your presentation. I was able to attend one of the community meeting in March, and it was really cool to see a lot of groups be engaged and even a group of high schoolers come with their own ideas and presentation. Would you be able to overview kind of how accessibility was included in this project of abilities and skill levels, how that was considered throughout the design?
Yeah, so part of the skate park that you'll find on the west side, it will incorporate the higher level skateboarders and skate park users, whether it's a scooter or whatever you want to use for your wheeled object. And then the east side was more of a street course, which will have more of the ramps and other things that are used for the more basic entry-level skateboard users or skaters.
Sure, thank you. And then at the meeting, I also noted that several groups expressed interest in further utilization. Do you have any other updates or information of maybe potential partnerships or just group utilization of the renovated facility?
Yep, so we're still engaging those groups and looking at doing more skateboard competitions and festivals and those kind of things, just to really make sure that that part of our community stays connected and with what we're doing.
Sure, thank you. I just want to reiterate my appreciation that you really involved the end user of a lot of different levels and ages and demographics throughout this process. There were a lot of public input sessions and even a Brookings Register article about the design. So I really do appreciate your initiative of engaging the public on different levels throughout this. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Wendell.
Thank you, Mayor. Kristen, you had mentioned that we had not really been maintaining the park over the last couple of decades consistently, which made me wonder whether or not the American Ramp Company or there's another entity that provides some training for staff after the equipment is installed, or if we feel like we have the capacity to continue maintaining equipment.
Yeah, we were maintaining it. It was just no new elements were being added, or adjusted or replaced. Everything has its useful life. We will get more useful life of what's going in because it's all concrete rather than the metal ramping. We are fully capable of maintaining it, and we hope that this helps facilitate a growing user group of skateboard users, and that the park will grow hopefully very soon. So we'll be working with those groups that we've connected with to ensure that everybody has the skate park of their dreams.
All right, any other questions, comments on the consent agenda? Thank you, Kristen. Please call the roll.
Hager.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye. Okay, so I have two proclamations this evening. One is for McCrory Gardens Day, and the other one is for Disabilities Act 35th anniversary. We'll do the McCrory Gardens one first, and when I get done with that, then Mark and chair of the liaison might come up with Mark. All right. Yes, please come up. Lisa Moratz, right? Moratz. Yeah. All right. Lisa Moratz, Director of McCrory Gardens, is up here. Whereas McCrory Gardens has been a beloved treasure in Brookings since its founding in 1965, serving as a public garden, educational resource, and place of beauty for residents and visitors. And whereas the land on which McCrory Gardens grows is part of the ancestral and contemporary homelands of the Oseti Sakowin, the Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota people, who have long nurtured a deep relationship with this land, its plants, its rhythms, and whereas the gardens stand to honor Samuel A. McCrory as a living legacy, Dr. Ronald M. Peterson, generations of visionaries, horticulturalists, educators, students, and volunteers have stewarded this growth with care and creativity. And whereas McCrory Gardens continues to partner with South Dakota State University, SDSU Extension, tribal and community leaders, and visitors of all backgrounds to preserve the cultural and ecological chain and agricultural heritage of South Dakota, and whereas the year 2025 marks the 60th anniversary of McCrory Gardens, an occasion worthy of recognition and celebration. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Opke Garrett Niemeyer, Mayor of the City of Brookings, do hereby proclaim August 1st, 2025 as McCrory Gardens Day. Go ahead, Lisa. Thank you.
to say the least, it's an honor to be here with you and then also to be in the same space where those legends, the legacies, those that have brought us, McCrory Gardens, to where we are today. I'm looking at Dr. Ron Peterson. Will you wave your hand? Get Ron to wave his hand. He was side by side, I would say, with Sam McCrory when it was time. Ron once told me that the horticulture grounds were getting the boot, so they had to uproot, and out to the corner of 6th Street and 22nd Avenue is where it moved to. I'm looking at Dr. David Graper, wave your hand. Dr. Peter Schaefer, waving his hand, and Martin Maka. You can wave your hand? Okay, very good. Just that row of folks, incredible, and their spouses sitting behind them. We've also got Sydney Trio in the house. She is our current education coordinator and horticulture assistant with SDSU Extension. To grow a garden like McCrory takes hands, hearts, and vision. We're honored by this recognition and excited to carry forward the work of cultivating beauty, knowledge, and connection for future generations. In addition to this official proclamation, McCrory will host its annual garden party, number 37 this year. Before the garden party, we're hosting an all-crew reunion, so if you or you know someone who had work at McCrory Gardens since the 60s, please reach out to McCrory Gardens. We're going to be honoring those that worked there past and present. From 6:30 to 8 p.m., the annual ice cream social, so free SDSU ice cream and jazz music provided by McKinney and Friends. Free and open to the public, and it's for all ages and all abilities. One feature we have happening right now is that we have a history walk. So we have 22 different images throughout the gardens where it is what it looked like and what it looks like now, so you can watch the change and the growth. The following day, another free and open to the public from 10 to 5. Native Plant Initiative plant sales, garden tours, and we'll also be introducing the project that we received a WAKINI Initiative grant for, rehabilitating our prairie medicinal garden, and our partners with the Native American Indian Center will be there along with us to tell you what that is going to amount to. Thank you so much.
All right. Mayoral proclamation. Whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed on July 26, 1990 as the first comprehensive declaration of equality for people with disabilities and protects rights of all aspects of employment in accessing public services and guaranteeing access to private establishments. And whereas the goals of the community aligns with providing people with disabilities with the opportunities and support to achieve full integration and inclusion in society in an individualized manner. And whereas disability is a natural part of the human experience that does not diminish the right to enjoy the opportunity to live independently, enjoy self-determination, make choices, contribute to society, and experience full integration and inclusion with necessary services and supports. Now therefore it be resolved, I, Opke Garrett Niemeyer, Mayor of the City of Brookings, do hereby proclaim July 26, 2025 as Americans with Disabilities Act 35th Anniversary Day. And I call upon the people of Brookings to recognize and celebrate the progress that has been made by redefining principles of equality and inclusion and recommitting our efforts to reach full ADA compliance for people with disabilities in the City of Brookings. Continue advocating for full inclusion and equity of individuals with disabilities in all aspects of society. Here you go, Mark.
Thank you.
Yep.
35 years ago, ADA was made law. ADA is the floor. It's not the ceiling. It's a bare minimum requirements. Recently, I watched a documentary on PBS on American Experience, which I would suggest any of you please take some time and look at it. ADA was one of the hardest fought laws that there ever was. The battle to pass ADA took a lot of work. I didn't even know it was going on. Back 35 years ago, I was just doing my thing, teaching at SDSU and trying to stay under the radar. Had I known that people were fighting like that for it, I hope I would have tried harder. And there were people crawling up the steps of Capitol Hill to make a point. It just blows my mind that anybody was opposed to this law, but they were, strongly. Businesses said that they would go out of business. The fact is, ADA's laws, or rules, really, are more common sense than you would think. Many of the things that you think are required by ADA really aren't. They make recommendations, but there aren't a lot of requirements. They're bare minimum. So when a business says, we're ADA compliant, I'm like, well, that's nice. You met the bare minimum requirements. But the fact is, every single one of us is one slip, one fall, one stroke, one heart attack, one health-changing disease away from sitting right next to me, or worse. And if that was you, what would be enough? Just a basic ADA compliance, would that be enough for you? Would that be enough for your child, your parents, your grandparents, your siblings? I don't think so. So as you go out this week, I hope that you'll stop and think, when you see that little button that you push for automatic doors, which, by the way, is not required by ADA. And thankfully, though, in the city of Brookings, there are much better requirements for things like that. But when you see that, think about that. And think about what the difference is. And think about, like, for example, when I see a flight of stairs now, at one point I did walk on crutches and I could handle it. I didn't like it, but I could do it. Now when I see it, whatever's at the top of those stairs could just as well be in another country or on another planet, because that's how far away it is to me. So thank you for this, and I hope you'll think about it in the following weeks. So thank you.
Okay, so item 7A, contracts and change orders column, public hearing and action on resolution 25-069, a resolution authorizing the purchase of real estate for a parking lot. Paul Brasino, our city manager, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. Before Council tonight is a resolution to purchase land at 214 Front Street at a cost of $1,250,000, plus title work, closing costs, and real estate commission costs. By buying this property for future public parking in the downtown, Brookings aligns with the city's strategic priority to promote economic growth and ensure accessible infrastructure to support continued downtown development. Last October, the City Council unanimously approved the Downtown Brookings Master Plan. Developing the plan was a year-long process that included public engagement sessions, online comments, and countless conversations throughout the community. A lot of community members took the time to share their concerns and ideas on how to enhance the downtown and create opportunities for future community and economic development. Not only did the city hear that from residents about the importance of parking, but we also know that adequate, convenient parking is critical to supporting the downtown business and events and long-term growth. Additional parking will also assist with future growth and redevelopment projects that emerge within the downtown from the master plan. Staff recommends capitalizing on this opportunity to buy the land for future downtown parking.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Open public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Public hearing is closed. Does the council have any questions, comments on this item? Councilmember Duren.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a comment that downtown parking is a pretty frequent topic that is brought to us by the public. So with the continued revitalization of downtown through our economic partners merger, as well as our downtown master plan, I see this as a step of another investment in a core area of our community. I did just have one question to confirm. For this to be developed into community parking, this would be free for the community, correct? Free parking?
That's yet to be determined. A majority of it is the intent.
Okay, I couldn't remember that. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments by council? Please call the roll.
Specker.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Hager.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to first readings. Item 8A, introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-027, an ordinance authorizing budget amendment number 5 to the 2025 budget. Paul Persino, our city manager, will also present this item.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. This is directly related to the resolution just passed. Staff is presenting an ordinance to fund the purchase of this property at 214 Front Street for the development of the parking lot in downtown. The budget amendment is actually for $1.3 million and contains funding for not only the land purchase, environmental study, property appraisal, and then real estate closing costs as well. Staff does recommend utilizing the City Council's financial policy project funds for this purchase. This fund was created roughly 6 years ago to save for one-time infrastructure or facility investments, as well as opportunities to the council. This initiative aligns with the City Council's strategic priority to promote economic growth and ensure accessible infrastructure to support continued downtown development. Staff does recommend approval of the ordinance as presented.
All right. Any public comment on this item? This is only the first reading, so there will be a second reading next meeting. Council questions, comments at the moment? All right. Move on to item 8B, introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-024, an ordinance establishing a citizen's request for reconsideration policy appeal process. Isha Gustafson, our library director, will present this item.
Mayor, Council, thank you. Presenting ordinance 2524. So it is bringing the library policy into compliance with state law 22-24-2056. The library has a citizen's request for reconsideration and has for many years. So this just brings that process of review by the City Council into the policy.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? Council, any questions, comments? Councilmember Duren.
Thank you, Mayor. So from my understanding, we did already have a process. This is just adding 2 more additional levels of appealing for a library card holder, correct? Of adding the City Council and then potential judicial court review?
Correct. On items that they feel are possibly obscene.
Sure. So I noted that there was a response timeline for staff, the 60 days, and then the library board as well. For City Council, would we need a response timeline, or would it just be the next meeting if it went to City Council? Or what would that look like for us?
I would ask Asia, have you seen any guidance on timeline for City Council?
I have not.
Okay.
I think it would be up to the council on how they wanted to handle that.
Okay. And then a follow-up with that is, would the hearing be like a public hearing? Would that just come to a public meeting and then it would just be a one meeting appeal process? Or what would that look like if it got to us?
Asia, I don't know if you have any guidance on that, but I would anticipate a public hearing, a process where the applicant makes the recommendation, all the documentation from Asia, the library board is given then to the City Council, made part of the public process. The hearing is open, heard by the individual, it closes, council deliberates, and then makes a recommendation.
Okay, thank you for those clarifications.
Asia, is that?
That's how, yeah, I would imagine that's how it would work.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Wendell.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a comment and then I have a question for you, Asia.
Sure.
I think the first comment I would make is just it's unfortunate that the legislature and this codified law seems to believe that our library board and our board of trustees that have the most expertise in addition to our library staff would not be able to make thoughtful decisions when it comes to indecent materials that are in our public library. So it's unfortunate that codified law has now made these what I think are unnecessary layers of bureaucratic action a part of our process. I also have to say, as a member of the council, I hope that if something is elevated to this level, that there's some type of access to training that public bodies get to be in decision-making roles. Do you know if there are best practices out there in perhaps other communities or states that have now elevated this type of question to a city council, if council members have access to training?
I don't know. I think our state library is still grappling with what exactly this means for all of the state and councils and commissions.
And I asked that question acknowledging that the language within this policy was very thoughtfully considered, and if there needs to be another stop beyond the library board and the board of trustees and library staff, I suppose it lands with your city council. I just think that it's unfortunate that the law is in place and didn't contemplate the position it was putting city councils across the state in to then have to weigh in on matters that we perhaps don't have expertise in, but this is the place we find ourselves in. So.
Correct.
Councilmember Specker?
Asia, do you have an idea of about, on average, how many requests for reviews have been submitted per year?
I have been the library director for 9.5 years, and I've had one complete, like they've done the entire review process, and I had one who we had a conversation with and had never completed the form and the whole process. So 1.5 in 9 years.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Avery?
Just a question regarding the part where they can appeal the decision of the Brookings City Council to a court. Are we then obligated to defend that or to provide some incur legal expenses to
I turn that over to our city attorney to respond to.
I don't know that there's much of a precedent on it yet, but it's you are the body that has made the decision. You're the final step in the administrative review process. So at that point, it would just proceed to the circuit court level. So essentially it would be, I guess the question would be whether the city would be defending the process, and it kind of depends on how the question is, like what question is raised by the complainant.
Mm-hmm. So if I understand, any other questions, comments? So if I understand right, it's kind of spelling out what we are required to do, but the person that is bringing, say, a book forward, what is the process for them before they can say, I want this book removed?
So the policy is that they have to fill out our form, which is a 2-page form. It's fairly in-depth. It's basically a book review, or if it's a DVD, it's a DVD review. You can't just say like, well, online I saw that these words were in it. They have to cite actual like pages or, timestamps on DVDs or books on CD, and they have to review the whole entirety of the material. They can't just say like, well, I heard that it's, whatever. When we add materials to our collection, we go through we have multiple sources that we use for reviews of material to decide what we add to our collection. So then we ask the people who are requesting review of the material if they have looked at any of the critical reviews of that material, and if we were to remove that item, is there something that they would replace it with? So like a one-to-one sort of situation. And again, it's pretty involved, and so I've had, in my 9 years, one person who has gone through that whole process.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, we'll have second reading on August 12th meeting. All right, the next one is item 8C, introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-023, an ordinance amending Chapter 94, Article 6, Division 6, pertaining to Section 94-505, regulations relating to cannabis dispensaries. Mike Struck, our Community Development Director, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. The ordinance 25-023 before you this evening is an amendment to our cannabis dispensary regulations. Simply what we're proposing is to remove the Business B2A office district from eligible district in which cannabis dispensaries are allowed. We've had this ordinance in place for a few years now. We don't have any businesses currently located within a B2A zoning district. It's come up a number of times from some concerned citizens. And the Business B2A district is really intended to kind of act as a buffer between your more intensive business districts and your residential areas. And we just kind of felt that maybe it's just appropriate at this particular point in time to remove it from the cannabis dispensaries from the B2A. There's still 4 other commercial districts that they could locate in. There's plenty of sites throughout the community they could locate in, but we could try and keep it a little bit further away from some of our residential areas. So this does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission for approval, and the Development Review Team supports the request, and I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Public questions, comments? Council questions, comments at the time? All right. Move on to item 8D, introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-026, an ordinance to change the zoning within the city of Brookings, the south 110 feet of Outlet A, the southwest quarter in Section 20, Township 110, Range 49, City of Brookings, Brookings, South Dakota, Brookings County, also known as 716 34th Avenue, from Agricultural A District to Business B3 Heavy District. Mike Struck will present this item also.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Ordinance 25-026 is a rezoning. On the overhead map there, it's the actual parcel that's outlined in the lighter blue shade is the area that is subject to the rezone. This is a piece of property that is under a purchase agreement with a development team that is has the property to the south and to the east. They're looking to rezone it from its current ag zoning district to a B3, which would be consistent with the adjacent properties. It would be consistent with some of the recent changes that have occurred in this particular area with our future land use map. It would support future commercial development out in this area along 34th Avenue. It does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and the Development Review Team supports the request, and I'd stand for any questions you have.
Thank you, Mike. Is there any public comment or questions on this item? Council, questions, comments? All right, we'll move on to item 8E, introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-025, an ordinance to change the zoning within the city of Brookings, various city properties from agricultural A, residential 1, residential, I tell you what, almost every zoning thing that ordinance description we have, city property has been labeled with it. So I'm going to let Mike take it from here.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Ordinance 25-025 is a rezoning proposal before you for a number of city-owned properties across the city. On the overhead map, they're highlighted in the lighter green shaded areas. It's roughly 60-some properties that are being considered tonight in the first round, primarily consisting of parkland, drainage facilities, water towers, lift stations, substations, fire stations. The civic zoning district was created. We started working on it last summer and got it ready in ordinance format and brought it through and was adopted by the council in February. And we're just kind of following through on that and getting some of the city properties, proposing the rezone of the Civic to create more of a consistent district that is associated with public properties and public assembly type uses. It does a couple of things. It's additional added protection being in that civic district, in that it limits the types of uses that could occur within that district. But it's also to raise awareness to the public that these are public uses, public properties, or public type facilities. Not included in this initial rezoning wave would be, some of our partners in the community, whether it be the school district or the county or SDSU. They would certainly have the option. I've been asked a couple of questions. Why isn't Brookings Municipal Utilities headquarters included in this? We were specific when we wrote the ordinance, knowing that many of these facilities are located in and near residential areas, that we did not feel it was appropriate to include warehousing and warehousing type facilities, storage yards, and the such. And so Brookings Municipal Utilities location does not qualify for the ordinance, neither does our street shop, neither does our park, rec, and forestry shop, because those are heavy intensive uses that are more suitable in industrial type areas, and they shouldn't really be located in residential areas. And so that's the reason we did not include those. Likewise, the hospital would be eligible, all the schools would be. We just haven't had those conversations yet. We've had enough of them at the city level to get a good feel and understanding of what the civic zoning can do for the community. And so it does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and the Development Review Team supports the request. And I'd stand for any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Mike. Any questions from the public? Council, have any questions or statements? Or Councilmember Specker?
Yeah, I would just like to thank you for putting all of this together. I know there's been a lot of questions. A lot of us have gotten questions. You got a lot of questions. The Planning Commission got a lot of questions. And I think that this is a nice way of sort of simplifying the zoning. One question I did have is, say the schools, if they wanted to, or churches, if they wanted to switch the zoning over to civic, is there a fee for that?
For the churches, yes, there would be. For the schools, we have the ability to waive certain fees. Worst case scenario is if we felt the need, we could always just charge them for the publication cost, but it's pretty minimal. I mean, like we could take everything in one application. It's a $250 fee for a rezoning that covers the publication notice requirements, sign postings. I think I should probably also at this particular time thank Kristen and the Park, Rec, and Forestry staff. They assisted our office with posting for the Planning Commission round. Our signs that we use aren't the greatest weatherproof signs. We had to post them 2 days in a row. We had a nice rainfall event. There was 92 signs that were posted. Every one of them was down after the first rain and wind. And so her staff helped us. And they also pulled them out. They will be going back up August 4th and 5th, so there'll be another 92 signs going up in the community. We'll try and pull them down the day after the council meeting, but their staff was very helpful. So there is staff time associated with it, but if the school district, they're one of our partner entities, and so we do have a resolution that was passed a few years ago with some of our partner entities that we have the ability to waive fees, like building permit fees and such. A rezoning fee of $250 isn't that material to our budget. So if that's what it would take, if that's what they want to, how they want to proceed, we can certainly be a good partner.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from council? All right, thank you, Mike. And then we move on to second readings and public hearings. Item 9A, second reading and action on ordinance 25-022, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Brookings pertaining to the authority and duties of the Brookings Humane Rights Commission. Casey Bell will present this item. He is our Human Resources Director.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Tonight we bring to you a revision of the HRC ordinance that changes how the Commission will handle complaints of discrimination. This time around, I've had Lawrence and Carla join me. They've been instrumental in this process. They helped give the first presentation as well. Tonight we might do it just a little bit differently. We've asked Lawrence to give the full overview, and then we'll just stand by for any questions from council or from the public. So I'll turn it over to Lawrence.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. The last time I gave you the history, I am going to skip the history and just get into what the problems were and the change in the ordinance. As the City Human Rights Commission, we have an ordinance process how to handle discrimination complaints. And this has been in place since about 2018. At that particular time, the members of the Human Rights Commission adopted that policy. None of them are on the commission anymore, and the newer members of the Human Rights Commission had concerns as to that particular policy. Some of these concerns were the issue of time. You know, the Human Rights Commission is a volunteer board, and they have to go through a training process which takes time. Some of them also had concerns with the time involved and how long the complaint process would take them. Funding was another concern. Oh, this probably is one of the least concerns of all. The other big concern was the issue of training and turnover. In order for the Human Rights Commission members, in order to really understand this process, you have to go through a training process, review the documents, have discussions. There have been turnover on the Human Rights Commission each year. There's a couple of members that turn over, so that requires each year going through a training process for the new members, and all of that takes time. Other issue is confidentiality. Some commission members were very concerned about having to serve in the case of being a judge on a jury under fellow citizens. And also, some of them have concerns, do they really have the actual training, understanding to understand some of the legal liabilities involved in discrimination complaints. So because of this, we started to look at revising the policy over the past couple of years. We looked at how some other peer cities were handling this, and kind of settled on the city of Cedar Falls, Iowa, that faced the same situation that we had. And they changed their policy, so we are kind of adopting our policy to mirror what they have. What the changes would be, it would remove the HRC's authority to investigate, arbitrate, or enforce complaints of discrimination. Instead, the HRC will serve as a knowledgeable and accessible resource for individuals seeking help. If somebody has a complaint, that they still will come before the HRC. We have a form they can fill out either online or in person. And then on that complaint then, we can guide them to where to go. We have, it looks like for housing complaints, we'll probably direct them to the Federal Housing and Urban Development Corporation. For complaints dealing with employment, we'll forward those and tell those individuals to contact the Employment Equal Opportunity Commission. And also, we will have these resources available on the website. I think some of them already are up there on the HRC website, so people can look at these resources and see where to go to. In other words, we're kind of turning over the actual investigation of complaints, resolving the issue of the complaints, to agencies that are more trained in the process and have the legal understanding and ability as to how they should really handle and evaluate these complaints. We still, of course, keep track of complaints. When people come before us, like a filter form, that would be on our record. So we can still begin keeping track as to what issues are coming up here in the city. So I'll stand by for questions.
All right, thank you, Lawrence. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment or questions on this item? Council have any questions, comments? Councilmember Duren?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a comment that I know we had a pretty healthy discussion last time with, it seems like it was a lot of research and work put into this, so I want to thank you again. And I know there's still a couple of items that you're working through with the working group, so I look forward to this whole process continuing to be fleshed out, and just want to thank the volunteers in the working group and the committee again, or commission again, for all of your work on this.
All right. Thank you also for all the work that you guys have done on this. Please call the roll.
Wendell?
Aye.
Avery?
Aye.
Doran?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye.
Hager?
Aye.
Specker?
Aye.
All right. Item 9B, public hearing and action on Resolution 25-065, a resolution to amend the 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future land use map. Mike Struck will also present this item.
Resolution 25-065 is a resolution amending our future land use map as part of our comprehensive plan. The specific request is located along Main Avenue South. Some of you may be familiar with the former use of this proposed area as a salvage/junkyard. The new owner is proposing to change the use down there. What he would like to do requires a map amendment. On our future land use map, it was identified as an open space wetland area. It does not fall within the floodplain. It does not show up as any identifiable wetlands on the National Wetlands Inventory. It does fall within the development suitability map as a moderate area, which I think can primarily be associated with there's high groundwater table in the area. It's a relatively flat area, so occasionally there is some pooling in rain events, and then the soil characteristics in this area are maybe not as desirable for some building type projects as others. All of those factors can be overcome with grading and bringing in engineered fill. And so the applicant has requested that the future land use map be amended from an open space wetland area to an urban medium intensity. This does come to you with unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission for approval, and the Development Review Team supports the request. And with that, I would stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Open public hearing on this. Is there any public comments, questions? Council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Avery?
Aye.
Doran?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye.
Hager?
Aye.
Specker?
Aye.
Wendell?
Okay. Item 9C, 9D, and 9E are all kind of tied into each other. We'll just take off with 9C first, public hearing and action on a request to transfer an on-off sale malt license from 929-935 25th Avenue from Dennis Befield owner, Denmo Hospitality Group, Incorporated DBA Willards, to Matt Chapman. I will let Bonnie take it from here.
Mayor and council members, this is indeed a transfer of an existing on-off sale malt license. This license does not come with the video lottery authorization. This has been utilized as Wilbert's up there north of Runnings. Matt Chapman is the new owner of the business. He is rebranding that as Domelli's. Staff does recommend approval of this transfer, and Matt Chapman is present this evening if you have any questions for him.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any public comment? Matt, this is your time for free advertising, buddy. Come on up to the mic.
I just want to say, this has been a dream of mine to open my own place. So the opportunity sits right in front of me right there. So I'm hoping I can get approval for the liquor license transfer.
All right. Any questions from council for Matt? When are you going to be open, Matt?
I take over August 1st and hoping to get the restaurant open first week in September.
All right. Councilmember Wendell? That was the question, all right. Any other questions from the public? Council have any questions, comments on this item? Please call the roll.
Doran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Hager.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
All right, 9D, same thing, only on-off sale wine operating agreement with Matt. Please explain the rest, Bonnie.
Mayor and council members, this is for a wine operating agreement. Wine operating agreements are issued for 10 years. There is an automatic 5-year midterm renewal that would come back in front of you. Matt Chapman is the owner. This is a rebranding of what we know as Wilbert's to Domelli's, and staff recommends approval.
All right, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any public comment on this item? Council, questions, comments? Councilmember Specker.
I just have a quick question. I thought we had, the city had one convention license, and
The city-
that was somewhere else?
Nope, the city of Brookings has 2 convention licenses. One is the one that is at Wilbert's, which was a transfer several years ago by Dennis Bielfeldt from what we know as the former Boss's Pizza location. That moved up to Wilbert's. And then the other one is the Brookings Inn, owned by Park Hospitality.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Hager.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
Okay. Item 9E, public hearing and action on Resolution 25-067, authorizing the city manager to enter into 10-year on-sale convention liquor operating agreement. Bonnie will explain more.
Mayor and council members, this would be for a 10-year on-sale convention liquor operating agreement. This liquor license does not come with any video lottery authorizations. That is not allowed as per state law. This is a transfer from Wilbert's to Matt Chapman with Domelli's, and staff recommends approval.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Council, have any questions? Public comment, please, if there's any questions, comments. Council, questions, comments? All right. Please call the roll.
Hager.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye. So we have no, oh, by the way, congratulations, Matt. Good luck on your venture. I'm sure it's a dream come true for you. We have no other business, but we do have the progress report, the long, always anticipated progress report from our assistant to the city manager, Samantha Backman.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is the July 2025 progress report. Starting off with the police department, several police department staff participated in the recent Special Olympics torch run, and the department was also assisting with several different community events this month, including the second session of Safety Town, the library's bike rodeo, the 4th of July parade, and of course the Brookings Summer Arts Festival. At the library, the summer reading program registration is now sitting at 1,062 children and teenagers participating, which is really exciting to see such high engagement this year. And then looking ahead to August 19th is the first day, released after I made the PowerPoint. But we've got a couple days worth of life-sized Trivial Pursuit. So be sure to check out some more events on the library's website. And in the Public Works Department, the Engineering Division has several projects that they've got some updates on. The Airport Parallel Taxiway Project opens up this week. The asphalt maintenance project will be completed by the end of October. The 12th Street South Shared Use Trail Path had the concrete sidewalks poured and will be completed by August, just in time for the school to start. And then lastly, the traffic signals at Main Avenue South and 12th Street South are now operational, and that project should be completed by August as well. To help manage the mosquito population, the street division has been treating stagnant water with larvicide and began citywide ground fogging operations to target the adult mosquitoes in town. Along with that, the city has also been providing notices to the public of these ground fogging events and also providing educational opportunities via our social media. on what they can do to help mitigate the mosquito population on their property. We will continue to monitor mosquito counts throughout the city and schedule citywide fogging as needed. And due to some state budget cuts, the mosquito traps in the city of Brookings are not being tested for West Nile this year. However, there is one trap in Brookings County, located about a half-mile west of the S-curves, just south of town, that is submitting for the mosquito testing. At the Dakota Bank Center this month, they had the Uncle Sam Jam with over 2,100 attendees. The 4-H Achievement Days will be happening next week, and their renovation improvements are currently underway and expected to be completed by mid-August. And then over the July 12th weekend, we had over 40,000 visitors in our parks system for a variety of tournaments and for the Brookings Summer Arts Festival as well. So just wanted to give a huge shout out to our staff for their hard work on making all of these events possible. And rounding out the end here, the city, along with several of its volunteer boards, are seeking nominations for the 2025 Mayor's Awards. Nominations are due by August 1st for most of those awards and by July 23rd for the Disability Awareness Committee Awards. You can find more information on our city's website, and all reward recipients will be recognized at the Mayor's Holiday Party and Awards event at the Dakota Bank Center this December. And with that, we'll stand by for any questions.
All right, thank you, Samantha. Any questions, comments from council? All right, thank you. So then we'll, next meeting is August 12th. We'll have a second reading on all the first readings we had this evening, ex officio reports for both BMU and the hospital, and then a presentation from Eide Bailey for our 2024 audit. Is there any other items the council would like to consider in the future? All right, with that being said, we still have an executive session. Item 13A, executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2.4 for preparing for contract negotiations or negotiating with employees or employee representatives. Also SDCL 1-25-2.3 for consulting with legal counsel or reviewing communications from legal counsel about proposed or pending litigation or contractual matters. And SDCL 1-25-2.5 for discussing marketing and pricing strategies by a board or commission of a business owned by the state or of its political subdivisions when public discussion may be harmful to the competitive position of the business. Entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're in executive session. There will not be any action following the executive session. We will adjourn as soon as the executive session is done. Thank you.